Come on, Nanette. Nanette! Nanette! Nanette!
I cannot take much.
Oh, Nanette! My name's Mackie, and this is my experience playing through the main story quest of this 10-year-old game. So spoiler warning, and if you do want to go and play it, go and play the game now. But otherwise, grab a drink, settle in for my thoughts, triumphs, and many, many frustrations with Dragon's Dogma. When you start the game, you go through a sort of story-led tutorial which teaches you how to play. You wind your way through a dungeon-like setting where you see the titular dragon and stab a number of other beasts, culminating in a fight with a chimera. You are playing a character called Savin, and I wasn't really sure how much of this was relative to my individual story or just for the purposes of learning combat. But once you have fought the chimera, the dragon Grigory is released and flies out into the world to bring its fiery havoc upon it. Skip forward to character creation where you create your beautiful boy or girl. This was 10 years ago, so all of my non-binary peeps will just have to roleplay this one. And I made a beautiful gravel-voiced tough guy, Sean Deitch. You beautiful bastard.
Oi you, get on with it.
You then begin sometime in the future in your little village of Cassadis. A tranquil fishing village with what I thought was sort of Greek vibes, but I've since learned is more based on Sicily. Either way, it is idyllically Mediterranean. To speed things up a bit, dragon comes, dragon fucks shit up, and then you, being the plucky hero you are, take up a sword and have at the dragon, stabbing it in the hand. You are pathetic, but the dragon sort of finds you amusing, I guess, and decides to do some dark magic shit and takes out your heart, leaving you as an arisen, immortal and bound to the dragon forever. You then wake up afterwards with a scar on your chest, and your quest to retrieve your missing organ begins. So far the story puts me in mind of two films from my youth. Dragonheart, the not so classic fantasy adventure where Sean Connery plays a dragon who gives his heart or some such to an annoying little tosspot monarch, and two, Highlander, where you die and rise again and your village realises you are immortal and is suspicious of you. In this case though, the dragon wasn't doing you a favour, and your village get over their suspicions pretty quickly and don't drive you away like they do Connor MacLeod.
And you walk. I'll bloody well walk out of here.
So a theme that is going to continue with the story in general is that it isn't particularly deep. Just deep enough to facilitate your adventure, and you know what, I'm absolutely fine with that. So with the initial pieces laid out, it's time to pick up my shield and sword and choose my class. I go full basic bitch fighter, and then I head for the door to the wider world. But before we get out, a fella called Rook appears out of thin air, and we have it explained to us that Rook is a pawn. And pawns are sort of humans from an ephemeral realm that are sort of there to serve you, sort of like a kind of Mr. Meeseeks. They will follow you around, fight with you, and rather helpfully point out stuff over and over and over and over and over and over again. A lot more on that later. The first quest you get is to gather some herbs so that some lady can make a medicine for injured villagers. A classic starter type quest. We are told that one herb grows around the base of larger trees, and so we start roaming about picking up flowers, where we then encounter our first enemy, the humble goblin, the squawking punching bags of Dragon's Dogma. The second element of this quest requires a different herb, which is only found at night, which introduces us to the day-night cycle, which I will admit is probably one of the best I have experienced. You are literally scrambling around in the dark, save for your blessed lantern. This teaches us that things are often different at night than they are in the day. Once you have got your herbs together, you are then off to the fort nearby, and this is your first experience of travelling from one location to another through the open wilderness. Like with everywhere in Dragon's Dogma, you can follow a main path or go off-road, but following the road is often your best choice for getting anywhere. But what I would say is that get used to getting wherever you're going very, very slowly. Other character builds will have more stamina, and my fat fuck of a boy is a bit lumpy, but you have a stamina bar which starts going down as you sprint, so you'll find yourself gassing out or being attacked and left with no stamina for moves. So in the end, I just opted for walking everywhere. There is technically fast travel, but I'll get to that later. But for now, it is the pedestrian life for me.
Whoa!
Your first journey is fairly short, but you do get introduced to another gameplay element, the ambush. And let me tell you, you're going to want to get used to this, because it is going to happen a lot. Like, irritating amounts. There are probably reasons for and against the frequency with which this happens, but for me, this was the biggest test of my patience. But again, more on that later. Once we get to the fort, we ask around a bit and speak to a few people, and one conversation leads to another, and eventually we are led to the Riftstone, where we get to create our main pawn. And Linda was born. I got to pick Linda's class and aesthetics, and she will continue to level up with me as we go. Unlike Rook, whose time with me is limited, but he doesn't know that yet. Bless you, Rook, you dopey looking twat. So next up, we're challenged to prove ourselves as Arisen, and this ultimately takes the form of having a tear up with a Cyclops, our first larger foe. Now, we fought some Harpies and a Chimera in the first part of the game, but this is our first real experience of climbing up an enemy and hacking at them. Climbing, like running, uses stamina, which is why the Ranger class is best for climbing, as they have more stamina. Sean, on the other hand, was built for strength, so climbing was not going to be a strong suit. Now, all of this has essentially been an extension of the tutorial, and we are taught how to unbalance large enemies to get them to fall down and then go fucking mental on them. Once the big fella has been felled, we need to learn another valuable lesson, running back and forth from place to place. Now, this game isn't exactly open world in the sense of open world these days, more like a series of wide corridors from one town or city to another. And we spend a bit of time going back and forth between the fort and Cassadis just to get used to this kind of abuse.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
The last little lesson that is imparted on us in this sort of second tutorial is that back at Cassadis, we're asked to go down a well and sort of investigate something. I wasn't paying attention at the time. Here we get into a fight with a group of Saurians, and my god did this kick my ass. They're incredibly tough, and you are down in a wet cave where your lantern keeps going out, your pawns keep diving in and getting themselves downed, and it just felt sweaty and insurmountable. And I died over and over.
Oh fuck.
Oh no!
What are you guys doing?
Oh fuck me. Who's fallen? Is it Linda?
Fuck's sake, Linda. Come on, Linda, get the fuck up. Oh my god. No!
Embarrassingly, it was at this point, the point where I had to say to myself, I need more help, or I need to grind up some levels or better equipment or something, that I made two discoveries. Number one, that if I held down either of the bumpers on the controller and hit an attack button, it would do a skill move. And I could go to the inn and buy new skill moves, or improve the skill moves I had. Honestly, I felt so fucking dumb when I realised that I had just been using light and heavy attacks for everything. And, number two, I could hire another pawn. I had Linda, and I had Rook, and I wasn't sure whether that was my limit, but apparently no, you can have a total of 3 pawns. So surely another body in the fight against those slimy bastards was just what I needed. And so I visited the rift, and there he was.
Suddenly, life has new meaning to me.
Look at that beautiful bastard. Drinking that outfit. Look at those chunky thighs and that Kung Fu Panda belly. It was an instant love affair. Now, the pawn system would allow you and others to hire each other's pawns, and so in the online game, that is where they will be sourced from, if you will. My game was always in the offline mode, so I think that the pawns were just randomly generated, essentially by Capcom. So I don't really know for sure if someone made Burgess, or Burgess was a product of random assemblage, but there is a touch of the divine at work here. Do other people have Burgesses in their game like mine? Or is he truly unique? I know which one I am choosing to believe. Side note, this will not be the last time we talk about beautiful Burgess. So Burgess joined the party, we went back down the sweaty little hole and battle commenced. And eventually, through the power of me using proper skills and Burgess throwing himself about, we prevailed and this felt pretty good. Fuck you! How the tables have turned. Look at that! Yeah! Now we're going. Yes! Yes! Come on, Burgess! Eat it! Linda, where are you going? No, Burgess, come back. Are they calling for... Look at Burgess, he's just getting... just stabbing them up. That's another one down. Yes! Oh my dear God. Well done, Linda and Burgess. You fought bravely and recklessly. I'm not sure whether this was teaching me anything in particular about the game, apart from making me personally realise I was missing things. But I definitely felt like I had graduated after that. And so with that fetid wind in my sails, it was once more back to the fort where we would face our next story beat. But before that... Before we leave the relative safety of what I will call the starting area, we learn another important lesson about our pawns. They are dumb as shit and they have no fear or knowledge of cliffs, even though later in the game they won't stop fucking telling you about them. So it was at this point that I turned around to find that Burgess was no longer with me.
I cannot take much more.
Why? Where are you? Burgess? Burgess, where are you? Oh, Burgess fell off a fucking cliff. Oh, Burgess. Oh, fuck you, Burgess. Although I could still hear his pathetic cries, and upon checking the minimap, I could see that he was down somewhere. Turns out that the portly wonder had slid from the cliff. I'm not even sure what he was doing, but this was foreshadowing for the rest of the game and taught me that you need to continually hammer down on the D-pad in order to call your pawns to you like a little pack of excited dogs, lest they plummet to their deaths. Lesson learned.
Please,
Come on, mate.
not this time. Not.
Where I personally consider the game to begin in earnest is when you arrive back at the fort. After camping down for the night, you are then attacked by a Hydra, in which you fight until you chop off a head. This seems to be the final act in what proves your status as the Arisen of Legend, and worthy of going to Grand Soren to start work for the Duke. So you load the Hydra head on a wagon and begin an escort quest following the path all the way to the major hub of the game, and from where all further quests will begin. I feel that this quest prepares you for the true nature of a lot of Dragon's Dogma's quests, which isn't necessarily the goal at the end, but the journey to get there. This will become more apparent in later quests, but you have to battle your way through enemies of various types and ambushes along the way, which will become commonplace. It really is about the enemies we slayed along the way. After we emerge from the winding mountain pass, the vista opens up and we see Grand Soren laid out before us, and we descend the slope and enter the gates to the safety of the city. Along the way back through the mountain pass to go and find the witch in the woods, it was time for another little accident. No, Linda! Come, Linda. Hold on. Oh, Linda. Fucking Linda. I couldn't get to her in time, and this time she dies and we get to learn the mechanic for reviving our main pawn. Once your pawn is down, there is a time limit to which you need to reach them before they will return to the rift, and will only be summoned again from a rift stone, or if you die and go back to a previous save point. But you ain't getting them back without the rift stone. And with that, I think that it's probably a good point to talk a bit more about the pawn system. I genuinely believe the pawn system, the system whereby you assemble an adventuring party to aid and accompany you on your journey, is probably the best aspect of the game, and also many other games that do a similar thing. Other games allow you to assemble a party of adventurers, Dragon Age, Baldur's Gate, etc., but there is something particularly fluid and entertaining about Dragon's Dogma's offering. I think it has something to do with the action combat element, where you feel very present in the battle, and seeing your buddies get stuck in makes you feel part of it. At the same time, it is possibly one of the most fucking irritating things I've ever experienced. Truly, it is bittersweet. For every moment you have one of your pawns race into battle and start kicking the living shit out of some monster, you also have the brainless cunts continually yap on about how fire works well, or look master, a structure, or this is a sturdy fort, etc, etc. We'll deal with the good first. It genuinely feels like you have a little party at your side. You can move items between them to lighten your load on the road, and you can get them to help you when needed. But I think most of all, they genuinely add character to your experience of the game. It is exactly the sort of brain-dead behaviour I moaned about before that makes them quite charming and leads to entertaining and organic moments. Each time one of the dopes falls off a cliff is hilarious as it is frustrating, and all the while I swore at them for getting into the situation, I couldn't help but feel that my experience was enriched by it. And I did get attached to them as well, which made it all the more wrenching when I finally figured out that your two hired pawns do not level with you, and as such, Burgess suddenly stopped being my big beautiful boy and became my big flabby millstone hanging around my neck. Oh sweet, sweet Burgess, I am so sorry I never meant to hurt you. I won't forget your fat spinning kicks and your batshit mental knife attacks. But just like that scene in Harry and the Hendersons, I had to send him away. Au revoir, sweet chunky prince. But then this does add another element to the gameplay where you essentially are encouraged to freshen up your roster and try out new pawns. The further I got into the game, the more dispassionate I became, popping into the rift to find an upgrade to one of my pawns and trying to find the right combination. I think that with hindsight, I should have created a mage as my main pawn, so I would have always had a leveled up magical healer. But we make the choices we make, and we have to live with them. Fuck you, Linda. Each pawn has a sort of basic personality that is determined by some rudimentary questions that you get asked, which then decide whether your pawn will rush into battle or be reserved or helpful, etc. And you can order your pawns to advance by pressing up on the D-pad, or aid you by pressing left and right, or press down to call them to you. And depending on their personality, this can result in some extremely frustrating situations whereby you call your pawn and they just fucking ignore you. Or their personalities to be super helpful or something, so they just continually stop to try and heal you, even if that means just standing out in the open in front of enemies and getting killed. Which leads me to talk about the frustrating elements of your pawns. As I mentioned earlier, they generally swarm around you like a small herd of cats with traumatic brain injuries. They parrot the same fucking sentences over and over. They ignore you and stand around and get killed when you call them, or they just stand by the edge of cliffs and either get knocked off or just fall off. At times, I felt like I was going to have a fucking aneurysm shouting at the screen. Aside from falling off cliffs and high places, probably the most maddening thing to happen was when I was doing a mission to take out some goblins at a fort that had been overrun. I had taken down a number of cyclops, goblins and hobgoblins, I'd snuck inside the castle and then secured the item required to open the main gate, which would then allow the Duke's forces to launch the attack on the goblins. All was going well. One of the key mechanics to overcome on this mission was that some goblins were using siege weapons to fire heavy hitting projectiles at us at all times. So anytime you were out in the open, if you stood still for long enough, you'd get hammered by one of these giant arrows. So what happened was that when we opened the gate, Sir Whatever charged in, and we were supposed to get down to the battlefield in order to help him and ensure he could get the mission done. But as mentioned before, the ever helpful but peanut-brained Nanette, my mage healer, decided to stop out in the open to cast healing spells every time I tried to run down the stairs in order to join the fray. So each time she did this, she would cop a giant arrow in the face and go down like a sack of shit and start calling for help. Now I am right in the middle of the mission, and I can't really afford to lose my mage healer. And as mentioned earlier, you only have so long to get to them to revive them, otherwise they are lost until you can get them back via a riftstone. So I run back up and I revive her, and then furiously spam the commands to follow me as I desperately try and get back down the stairs again to join the fight. But what happens? Fucking Nanette just stands still and starts casting again and gets herself killed again. Each time I run back to help her, it plays another cutscene showing Sir about to be dead getting filled in by a load of little goblin slags. I felt like I had to go back for Nanette each time as I didn't have any healing items to use, so was solely reliant on Nanette's healing spells. Ultimately, Sir Deadmeat was chopped up and I was duly informed that we had failed the mission. Thanks a lot, mate. Good one.
It only gets tougher
Well,
from
please, just follow me. Please, Nanette, I beg you. Come on. Nanette!
here to take the stairs.
God damn it, woman!
The place is above.
Nanette, stop standing there, you fucking moron! Come on! Just stop trying to heal people who don't need healing. Come on! Fuck me, mate. Come on. Oh, is this the thing?
Here's the gate control.
Yes! Let's get ready for battle. Come, Sir Roberts.
Splendid work, guys.
The advantage is ours.
Yes, Cheryl, what do you want to say? Oh, Cheryl! Fuck you! Come on! Let's go and join Sir Robert. Oh, mate. No, where are you? Come on! Oh, Nanette, I swear down, where are you?
I cannot take much more.
Please stop! Christ almighty, come on, Nanette! Oh my god! Is that your fault, Nanette? Come on! Just come! Oh fuck, you're dead again! Oh, I swear! Please! For the love of the God I don't believe in, come on! Come on! Oh Christ almighty, come on! Oh, I swear I'm gonna fucking break this control pad in half. I'm losing my mind! Where are you? Nanette! No! Stop it! Nanette, I fucking hate you! Jesus Christ, Robert's dead! And I haven't saved the game in ages. Oh my god, Nanette! Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm selling you as soon as possible, Nanette. So I guess the main takeaway here is that whilst the pawns are an incredibly interesting and enjoyable element of the game, their AI is fucking cretinous and they will do the dumbest things. And when they aren't doing the dumbest things, they are saying the dumbest things. Their vocal barks are coded by proximity to certain locations and things, and they didn't really bother to record a variety of different vocal lines. So this means you will hear these pawns say the same things over and over and over again. Every time you encounter a certain enemy, every time you pass or get near to a certain landmark. Even if you are literally coming out of the fucking landmark, these dense cunts will mindlessly acknowledge it as if they have never seen it before. Now I know this is a limitation of how they have coded the game, but it is maddening. If I wasn't enjoying the other elements of the game in general, this could well have been a quit moment for me. I felt like I was going fucking mad. So to quote Gattuso,
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
but overall, the pawn system is a net positive. But before I visit some of my own particular experiences with the game, I just want to take some time to speak about some of the other elements in general. For a game that is 10 years old, I think the environment is pretty good. I mentioned before that when you actually analyse it, this isn't truly an open world, just a series of sort of corridors, but the way it is designed does give that kind of open world feeling. Cassadis nails what it's going for, reminding me of seeing Harry Hamlin knocking about at the beginning of the original Clash of the Titans. And I know it's technically Sicily, but it does project a kind of sandy countryside that went with the whole ancient Greek mythology that I found so captivating as a kid. There are nice touches all around and things like flapping bits of tarpaulin in the wind and on a few tent poles and stuff as you crest a hill, kind of like really set the thing off. Whilst it does look nice, there isn't a great deal of variety on show. There's different environments, so mainly just sort of one notch along a scale in terms of the actual countryside that's presented. A sandy sea village, less sandy countryside with grass, less grass, more mountains and rocks, more forestry, less rocks, old fortresses or colosseums. There's nothing vastly different. But it is only when you really scrutinise it that you see that there is this slight lack of diversity in the scenery. But without scrutiny, I don't think it's really an issue. For the length of the main story quest, it really doesn't propose a problem, and I never really felt held back by the lack of different scenery. There is one biome though, if you will, that is a bit different, and again not too different, but the spooky weird woods where you will find the witch does something a little bit different by providing a sort of twisting, misty Forest of Fangorn type vibe where I found myself walking in circles as the fog enveloped me. But again, it isn't something drastically different. But then should it be? I mean, Skyrim doesn't necessarily have loads of variation in its scenery or other successful RPGs, and Dragon's Dogma isn't a sprawling MMO with different areas to keep things interesting. But for a game that is getting on a bit in age, from a previous generation of console, this is well presented and I would say stands up still today. I must admit that I didn't explore this as much as I should have. Maybe because I sort of created some of my own headcanon about my character and the type of person they were and their motives, but also because trying different stuff out isn't as accessible as other games, that being because you can only have one save file at a time. In hindsight, this may have been a good thing for me, as if we take MMORPGs for example, I never really get much progression done because I'm always going back and creating new characters to try different classes and builds. You can change vocations within Dragon's Dogma, so there isn't anything stopping you from being a fighter and then changing to be something more magical, but I didn't want to waste progression I had made in my fighter vocation, and my headcanon was that old Sean is just a simple lad with his sword and his shield, and I was determined to just basic bitch my way through the game, and that is exactly what I did. Like with vocations, I didn't really engage too much with these either. You have a small range of different skills that you can choose from that you can buy with discipline points, and for me that meant free for my shield hand and free for my sword hand. You can then purchase upgrades to those skills that are sort of better versions of your existing ones. You also get a number of passive skills that you can purchase that will bolster your endurance or strength, etc. And I upgraded these as much as I felt I needed to, which wasn't too much and it didn't seem to hold me back. I'm sure there is more to this, and maybe one day I will come back or start a new game and try them out. But it was functional enough for me to enjoy combat and yeet goblins into the air at will. You could buy weapons and curatives wherever you find a travelling trader within a particular location, or within Gran Soren where there are dedicated stores, of which one in particular continually pissed me off. I had decided that I was going to play my character extremely straight down the line. I had one goal and one goal only: get my fucking heart back off that big red dragon slag. So that meant I eschewed all side quests so I could concentrate on the main story quests. What this meant was that the weapon trader in Gran Soren always had a side quest that I kept ignoring. Now thinking about it, I could have just accepted the quest and ignored it. But I didn't, and so every time I went to him to buy weapons, he would ask me if I wanted to do a side quest, which I assumed would have given me better weapons, but I had to keep cancelling the option because I wasn't interested. So every time I turned him down, the salty little prick would exclaim, "What, an arisen, not interested in better weapons? Huh." And every time I wanted to reach into the monitor and punch his stupid little cunt face. I guess that was kind of on me, really. Anyway, I generally felt that without really trying too much, I would pick up enough gold from killing stuff that periodically I was able to buy new gear, and ultimately going from the jaunty little fella with my gay little pants and strappy boots to the armour-clad, horned helmet badass that you see now. You can also buy gear for your pawns to wear, but it turns out that Sean was a little bit selfish and spent all the money on himself. Again, probably would have made things easier for me to kit them out, but I wanted that sick helmet. Once you get to Gran Soren, you go and visit, like, I don't know, the Hall of Pawns or something, and you're given a quest to go down into a grand crypt and retrieve a magical item or some such. You could tell that even though I tried to pay attention, obviously some of the story elements were not sinking in. Now you need to battle your way down this sort of spiral slope all the way to the bottom. And this was quite a challenge, as you would face a lot of undead and also, halfway down, a horny ogre which has been seemingly modelled around like a giant chimp. The challenge here was that there was two ways through this. You either tackled the big fella with his glowing buttocks. Side note, ogres get aroused and excited around females and their butt starts glowing red and they become enraged. That's your fault, Linda. Or you can pull the lever, open another gate and go around and through corridors of skeletons. Both ways fucked me up because I forgot to stock up on curatives, and I hired a new mage at higher level, but I hired a new mage before checking his skills and realised he didn't have a fucking heal spell. Which was the whole reason I hired him in the first place and binned off Rook. Sorry, Rook. Lesson learned, but it still didn't help halfway down the crypt and halfway through the quest. So I pushed on and kept trying both ways, and each time getting mobbed or splattered. Then Linda got punched off a ledge and died, so I was a pawn down. At which point a light bulb went off in my head and option 3 presented itself. Be a little bitch and just run past the ogre. Furiously spamming down on the D-pad for my idiot pawns to follow me, and do you know what? It actually fucking worked. We ran down to the bottom, but not in time to save Linda, but we did pick up the item required, and this triggered an event where these sort of nether worms started to appear out of the floor and trying to munch me and the 2 remaining pawns. We were ultimately killed, but upon retrying again, I decided to go for a good old option 3 again and just got on my toes and had it away. I did try and command the pawns to follow me, but they sort of didn't, and as a result became worm food. So I made the executive decision to chance the fact that I may lose them altogether and just got the fuck out of Dodge. Which led to a very amusing scene of Chunky Sean legging it out of the crypt like his chubby little life depended on it. Look at me running. Oh mate, look. Yes. So whether this was a lesson I was supposed to learn or not, it turns out that if possible, just run past things. Turns out no one will notice and everyone will still think you're a hero. Plus, your pawns will just get magically dragged through with you. So remember, running is always an option. One thing that I think Dragon's Dogma does really well, and again, I'm also going to moan about this after I've praised it in some sense, is that when going on a quest, it literally feels like you have gone on an epic adventure. I think this has a lot to do with the fact that it takes you a long while to get anywhere, and you have to wade through so many enemies to get there, that you get that feeling of embattlement that adds to the overall feeling of achievement. About halfway through the game, I ended up going on what felt like an absolutely epic journey. And it wasn't until I had technically completed that journey that I realised that I had taken a wrong turn and had actually travelled to the scene of the final showdown way before the showdown was ready, and ultimately wasted my fucking time. I should have actually taken a completely different path and ended up wasting insane amounts of time fighting through areas that I was under-levelled and under-equipped for. But until I made that realisation, I was embroiled in what I thought was a quest of the most epic proportions. I started up the sloping path, battling through the usual harpies and wolves, only this time upgraded to tougher snowy variants. I hacked and slashed my way along the path, dealt with the ambushes from female bandits until I come across another giant cyclops, this time clad in iron armour, providing a different sort of challenge. I had a bit of a freak out, I must admit, when I encountered a smoke spell and didn't have a fucking Scooby-Doo what was going on and couldn't see anything.
Oh my god.
No, they hold the advantage.
What's going on? I don't know what? Oh my god.
I subsequently died from that and fought on a few times, and eventually we cleared the bandit mobs that were accompanying the Cyclops and continued up the winding mountain path. And this is where it started to feel like D&D campaigns that I have been in the past. As I battled past the latest bandit ambush, I could see a torchlight flickering in the distance and tried to make out where the source of light was coming from. And lo and behold, it was another Cyclops right in the way of the narrow path, with nothing but a mountainside on the right and a giant fall to your doom on the left. This kind of felt like the dungeon master telling your party what lies ahead and describing it, and you all letting out a groan and this feeling of, how are we going to get past this together? So we steeled ourselves and charging into battle, hacking at the brute until we brought it down and vanquished it in triumphant glee. However, something was wrong. Something was missing. Nanette.
Oh, where are you? Oh no, Nanette. Oh, Nanette. Oh, fucking hell, mate.
It's like the open space is about to reach out and take you.
And I can't, how do I get down there? Oh, fuck. No. You're the one that heals us. Or attempts to... Oh no!
During the excitement, Nanette got yeeted off the mountainside and was now laying prone on the floor way below us in the murky darkness of the night. We had to go and get her. Why? Well, like always, I had forgotten to stock up on curatives and so needed her healing spells. So we start working back down the mountain path to find somewhere safe enough to get down to her level. And once we're down there, making our way through the darkness, I hear a deep growl somewhere up ahead.
Fight people to get down to you.
It's massive.
What's massive? Oh no. Oh my days.
I cannot take much more.
Oh fuck.
It appears that fucking Nanette had fallen into a chimera's domain and a vicious battle began in the darkness. A truly thrilling event with things flying all around and all over the place while my lantern swung about wildly. I wasn't willing to let the Cyclops' progress go, and so I fought to the bitter end, but ultimately we fell in the night to the might of the mythical beast.
So once again we restarted and had to deal with the Cyclops again. So once again we threw ourselves into battle, but this time I continually told my pawns to come away from the edge, and once again we were triumphant. And more to the point, no one fell off the fucking cliff. Although they did fucking tell me about the drop over and over again. We made our way further up the path, taking on more bandits at a gate, fought some Saurians in a river and some more harpies, banged our head against another chimeric wall, and all of the while I checked the map and thought there must be a turn somewhere coming up. And with each enemy slain and with each bit of progress made on that path and looking at the high mountains all around us, a horrible feeling started to sink in. I had gone the wrong way. Once again, the bittersweet pill of Dragon's Dogma. Pure elation and exciting adventure topped off with the nauseating feeling of knowing I had to walk all the way back. Fuck Sean's life. Which leads me to a couple of moans. Whilst I personally feel that a lot of the feeling of adventure comes from having to slowly battle your way across vast distances, and whilst I understand that it is legitimately a design choice on behalf of the developers, that being to make traversal that way on purpose, and I can kind of get that idea, players can run into other things and enemies on the way, get distracted by scenery and leave the path to explore, but for me, I just felt it dragging on me the further I got. Now I know that some of this is literally because of the way I chose to play the game, that being that I was role playing, that my character cared about nothing outside of getting my heart back, which meant that I was just mainlining the main story quest. So if I was taking my time a bit more, just being a little less focused, doing side quests, I would have been introduced to more areas and more items, but traversing the land became a real sticking point for me. And so there is fast travel, and it is facilitated through a consumable system of ferry stones and port crystals. Ferry stones allow you to fast travel to any of the main towns or cities, and port crystals allow you to sort of create your own waypoints to travel to on the map. But in my playthrough, I managed to buy a total of 4 ferry stones, and I used them all as soon as I could, as I was fucking sick to death of walking everywhere. As I said, I was mainlining the MSQ, and so I am willing to bet that if I'd have done more side quests, I would have encountered more ferry stones. But I didn't get my hands on that many, and so it was the walking life for me. Which leads me to my second gripe. I love some of the battles in this game. Fighting the Cyclops, Chimera, Ogres, Griffin, Golems and Cockatrice are all genuinely enjoyable and exciting moments, but the trash mobs drove me to fucking distraction. It just felt like I was wading through a soup of fucking wolves, bandits and goblins. Every time I heard, "Look master, wolves!" or whatever, I just wanted to put my fist through the screen. I understand that this is probably so that you can do more of what is one of the most enjoyable elements of the game, that being the simple yet satisfying combat, but for me it is just too much. If I have to run from one place to another, I don't mind a few ambushes, but it continually felt like I was getting one attack after the other, over and over again. It didn't even feel like day or night made any difference, just a difference in what attacked me. You can run past stuff like I said before, and certain groups of bandits and goblins were easy to just leave behind, but wolves, fucking wolves, did my nutting, Christ almighty. Now I know that I am my own worst enemy here, and you've probably already realised that my brain is full of shit, and if I had just adventured more, bought more healing items etc, I would have had way less friction, but that's just not how my brain works. So for me, I would love to turn the density of the enemy encounters down significantly. Let me just proclaim before anyone has a fucking moan about it that this is my problem alone, and probably not one felt by other players. I think that's all my main moans out of the way. Nope, got one more quick one. Just fuck off with that fucking shit. This is not a serious survival simulation. I can't even be bothered to expand on it. Just fuck that shit right off. I just want to play the game, not manage inventory. Fuck it.
Anyway, let's bring the mood up a bit and talk about we know that Capcom have a pedigree of monsters as per the Monster Hunter series, and things are no different here. For me personally, the general monster theme is perfect for me and my inner child. It has a real Greek mythology type vibe and I love it. Climbing up and down the monsters, hitting weak spots to trip them up or down them, feels great. Every time I finish one off, I would let out a little triumphant cry. Excluding the little bullshit monsters, I shall go through them one by one. Cyclops is an early, a large enemy that is fed to you, but that doesn't mean that the sight of one doesn't come with a weary sigh as you prepare yourself to do battle later in the game. They do get easier to deal with tactically, but you will start facing armoured ones as you progress, meaning that your sword hits just bounce off them when you attack. This means that you have to get the armour off to do real damage. They have armoured arms, legs and head, which doesn't leave much to hit, and so, rather amusingly, I found that the best tactic was to unbalance them and then go in through the butthole. Easy access. They do get easier, as I said, as you upgrade your skills and weaponry, but just when you think that they are a piece of piss, the game cheekily tosses two at once at you. Touché game, touché. The Chimera is a classic mythical beast and proves a real challenge with numerous skills at its disposal. The goat will put you to sleep, the snake will poison you, and the lion will just mess you up. This means that you often want to jump on its back and work at taking out the snake and goat first and then wearing down the savage lion. It is a pretty mobile foe and will dive about catching you off guard, and without a dodge roll it can be tricky to evade. The ogre seems to be the horny sex pest of the Dragon's Dogma world. As I mentioned earlier, they are excited by women and their arse glows red. They seem to discharge enemies as well, which caught me off guard on a number of occasions. They whoop and holler like a chimp and again move swiftly back and forth, and if they catch you with one of their fat uppercuts, your arse is grass and they're a lawnmower. They have quite a unique design given what you would usually think of when someone mentions the word ogre, which is a nice touch. The first time I faced off against the golem was when I was on my way to the old Colosseum to hunt and finish off the griffin. You have to travel through another mountain pass and there is a bandit camp to get through as you get pelted by arrows from above. Once you've gotten through there and you think you're in the clear, a pile of rubble suddenly animates and attacks you. This fight was really cool in the darkness as you have to hit the purple glowing spots that appear on it so that you can make it prone. So it is flailing about with a purple glow piercing the darkness, and it took a while to take down the first one, and it was genuinely a great ambush for a change. At a certain point, you're instructed to go on another mission from Grand Soren, and as you hit the path outside, a griffin comes down and attacks the caravan. And this foreshadows the quest you will then go on to kill the beast. A two-part quest where you have to first bait the griffin down and give it a bit of a slap, and then when it flies off, pursue it to the aforementioned Colosseum. It was a cool fight, which caused me more than a few problems, but once you learn that the best thing is to just rush in whenever it lands and go apeshit on its head, it went down pretty quick. The further you get into the game, the more these just seem to turn up in the overworld as a sort of normal enemy. And by this point, you'll have much better weapons and you can just kick the shit out of them by bashing them in the head and moving on. The cockatrice is an interesting monster which is really a griffin reskin, with one major difference: they can petrify people and turn them to stone. Linda got properly turned to stone for the first time I fought one, which was pretty funny. I had always heard about them from my D&D Monstrous Manual and thought they were supposed to be a bit smaller than this.
Either that or you see gnarly medieval illustrations of them. And again, they don't particularly look like they do in this, but artistic license, we'll give this one to Capcom. In reality though, much like the Griffin, you need to stay out of the way of their magic, wait for them to come to ground, and then run in and batter their heads. And that is all the main monsters I fought. I think that as a result of all the various DLC or areas that I didn't explore, there are more beasts like a Beholder and a Drake, but that'll be something for me to take on another time, I guess. As you enter into the final stages of the game, you gain access to like the Duke's Chambers, where you will then be given your quest from. Essentially this is no different mechanically from the quest you were getting outside, but we're now doing it inside for royalty. I don't know whether this was a specific part of the game design to trigger me in such a way, but if it was, it worked perfectly, and hats off to Capcom. What am I talking about? This little prick. From the moment I saw him, I wanted to kill him, and this is the moment that I learned that you can go to jail. I couldn't take his stupid little smug face no more, and so I set about him with my sword. He's fucking mugged me off as well. Oh, hold on.
Pray do not play a greater fool than I, sir. I do not welcome the competition. The Duke awaits.
All right, men, go. No use struggling.
Oh, what? Oh, oh mate. I'm gone to prison because I couldn't resist stabbing the jester. Very quickly my crimes were laid bare, and so was I, waking up in a jail cell with all my equipment taken away. Once in jail, you basically have to pay your way out, so it's clearly a mechanic to make you behave. Again, I was playing as a basic bitch fighter, so maybe a wizard or a ranger could sneak or magic their way out of prison without the need for forking over coin. I guess I'll never know. But for me, idiot that I am, it cost something like, I don't know, $5,000 worth of gold to get myself out. But such is my pathetic level of patience in general that I was immediately irritated, more than a reasonable man should have been, by having to fucking re-equip all my gear. So it is lamentable that I went to jail on a couple of other occasions. I think if memory serves, I tried to throw the jester another time, but and then I just brushed past someone, and I think that was deemed assault, and so off I went to jail again. More of the story, just behave yourself and you'll be alright. Probably wise words for life in general there. And so after some time completing what had become some pretty rudimentary fetch and talk and battle to and from quests, it was time to begin the final push to come face to face with the game's main enemy, the dragon. First you had to get to the final showdown, which I knew exactly where to go because, as mentioned before, I'd already gone there by accident. This time though, once I got there, I was allowed into the keep and proceeded to do battle with the creepy little weirdo dragon minion who had been giving us the run around all game. He made some liches or something who were an interesting challenge and spawned undead mobs to attack you whilst they floated around and did magic. If you didn't clean up the mobs and take these mothers down quick, they had this sort of whirlwind spell which was not only terminal but insulting as well, as it made you watch your dead body being juggled in the air like a pathetic little ragdoll. What the? What the fuck? No! 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 I couldn't even fucking... Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Look, you won't even let me die. Just let me fucking die. Unbelievable. But best them I did. And once they were down, creepy freak boy got his comeuppance when the dragon arrived and just straight up killed him.
I fear I have misjudged the extent of your skill, dear Arisen. I see it was folly to worry of walls and armies while you still live. However, it seems my regret will be short-lived. Don't you feel it? The very air dances around us. The long night is come. The dragon's reign at last begins. Merciful winged death! All powerful and merciless Grigori! Behold, you unrepentant blasphemers! This is absolute truth! This is salvation!
Sucks to be you, dude. Sucks to be you. And now, the dragon. This is it, the sole purpose of Sean's journey. Our main role-playing theme, get our heart back. The #1 priority, my raison d'etre, my motivation. And we had finally arrived. You're back at the scene where you first started the whole game, and once again you fight your way through just as before, only this time the enemies are harder and darker. Literally, this time you go up against a dark version of the Chimera. In actuality, you don't need to defeat this Chimera, just stand on some plates to open a doorway so that you can move into the final battle arena with the dragon. This all shows us that in this world it is a cyclic thing, doomed to happen again and again. The Arisen will make his way to the dragon over and over, just like Neo in the Matrix. It is literally part of the fabric of this world, that the cycle takes place again, and has been the case before. The dragon must be confronted. Before you get into the battle proper, you are given a choice to make by the dragon Grigori, where you can fight the dragon to defeat it, or sacrifice your love. And I must admit, seeing as Sean had been rather single-minded about the whole thing, I had kind of forgotten who my love even was. Sorry, love. I believe depending on how you've played the game and the side quests you did, this love interest could be different people, but I guess as I just mainlined through it like a crazy fool, the girl from the beginning of the game in the village was my one true love. So even though Sean was a bit of a selfish prick, he wasn't going to waste the chance to have a tear up with that dragon slag who took his heart. The choice was obvious. Come at me, bitch. I found this whole final showdown to be fairly enjoyable, and it felt epic enough as a final point for the MSQ. It had multiple parts to the battle, fighting through the castle, evading the dragon as it blasted walls down around you, and to use the colloquial Essex term from the 90s, pegging it away from the dragon at speed down a tunnel as it pursued you. Now I'm aware that that term has taken on an altogether different meaning in the modern age, but rest assured, if given the chance, mighty Sean would have pegged the shit out of that dragon too. There are segments where you and your crew are jumping across bits of broken castle as the dragon flies about smashing shit up, and all culminating in a large circular arena where the object is to use a number of different stationary crossbows set at intervals around the place to shoot the dragon in the heart and then go batshit on it where possible. I'm sure there was probably a more elegant way to do this, but Sean's limitations in combat, that being just the option to stab things with a sword at close range, meant that I spent most of my time jumping up and down, stabbing the dragon in the chest while periodically being picked up and smushed into the floor. But after what seemed like a couple of hours, but was probably in reality 20 to 30 minutes, the dragon was downed and Sean was victorious, and his heart was once more his own. But in a twist of fate, you find out that this is not the first time the dragon has offered choices, and others hadn't been as righteous as old Sean. For example, the Dragonforged, the character you meet earlier in the game which teaches you something. Again, I've realised that I wasn't really paying attention. My bad. I don't know, there is some reason why I'm only mentioning him now. And to me, he didn't really play a particularly integral role, but again, maybe Sean was just a bit preoccupied with his own quest. The Dragonforge begins to die after years and years of undeath as an arisen just like you. You also see the Duke die, and with it, Gran Soren begins to sink into the earth, as if its prosperity was tied to the Duke's life and success given to him by the dragon via the same methods as you. So, maybe I didn't mention it before, but there's other Arisen as well, and again, this whole thing is a very Beowulf vibe to me, you know, the film where Ray Winston plays a big blonde Viking Chad, making deals with powerful entities and whatnot. It's fairly tropey affair, but it serves to make you feel all the more pleased with yourself. After all, you didn't hide in a cave like a little bitch like the Dragonforged, or you weren't swayed by the dragon's proposition. You were mighty and righteous, and you faced that bitch down and you won. Hip hip hooray. And once the dragon has given his last monologue, he dies and the titles roll. But as he is part of the fabric of this world, one must assume that he will rise again and the cycle must be completed. But for now, having beaten the main game, I have wondered whether the way I played it personally didn't allow me to experience it fully. I was very hell-bent on the main quest. I stayed with the first starter class I got, and I didn't really adventure too much off the beaten path. I think in one way the fact that you could only have one save file meant that I actually got through the game, where I ended up giving in on so many other games. Actually finishing a game for me personally was very rewarding, but that is only a me thing. Had I had the ability to start a new game file to experiment with, I would have likely spent a long time getting distracted, going back and replaying stuff as another class. I have thought about now taking Sean and changing classes and just roaming about in the world with less focus, just exploring and seeing what came about. The fact that I can just change vocation means that I wouldn't have to go back and replay the early parts of the game. But for now, I feel kind of burnt out on the whole thing. I genuinely enjoyed this game, a lot as it happens. But if I ever have to hear that fire works well as I get attacked by another pack of wolves every few steps, I will lose my fucking mind. I also genuinely feel that the pawn system is brilliant and makes for some great moments in your own adventure. The combat is enjoyable and not too complex, which is just what I want, but there is plenty about this game that drags, but overall not enough to damn it, and I would still recommend it. Will I be playing Dragon's Dogma 2? Probably at some point, but as it seems that it's not a drastically different game from the first, I am in no rush to pay full price for it. But to go back to the original, this game is fascinating in that all of its strongest attributes are also its worst points. Never have I been so inspired and so frustrated by the exact same things. Truly baffling. But in closing, I am glad that I played this game, and maybe in 10 years time I'll make another video about Dragon's Dogma 2. So make sure you hit the subscribe button for that. But for now, thanks for watching.